Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a rainy Thursday. It hasn't rained in a month to speak of. We need the rain. The stretch of weather leading up to today has been fantastic. 40s and 50s at night, 60s and 70s during the day with almost no humidity. I love it. And it looks like after this welcomed rain today, we're going to have another week of beautiful sunny weather. I've been absent from making videos because I've been taking advantage of the outside. My excavation project has now turned into a logging operation because my buddy with the excavator took the trees down, and now fortunately I have another friend with a chipper, and he also had bought a grapple that I put on my tractor. I drag the tree over, he cuts it up, I take the pieces of wood and stack them while he runs the brush through the chipper. And it's making fast work of a giant pile of brush I had out there, so that's cool. Thank God for good friends. Today we're working on the Clutch Turbo 400. We're back in the shop. I've prepped all the pieces, which took just a couple minutes because if you go back and watch the first teardown video, there was rust on some of these items, like the bearing retainer, but I could see through the hole. The input shaft wasn't rusted down here, so that was my first clue that this transmission was okay. And then when I pulled the pan off and it never even had fluid in it, well, hey, that's awesome. I had to rewatch my video because I had questions about the orientation of this front bearing. It's open on one side, shielded on the other. The snap ring was off the bearing, and I believe the shield was facing me, but that doesn't matter because I know how I'm going to put it together. It would be normal if I took, say, a Saginaw or a Muncie apart. I'd be looking at the open bearing under the bearing retainer, and that snap ring fits absolutely machine fit into the bearing retainer. So I've concluded, because there's only one snap ring groove, that this is going to go this way. I painted the bearing retainer, cleaned up where the throat bearing's going to ride. The brand new gasket's still stuck there. We're going to leave it. Bearing, again, still packed with grease like the way I got it. I'm going to put the pump bolts in last because I want to make sure I have it right, and my order of assembly, I'm just going by how I think it should go together, and you're going to watch me find out if I'm right or wrong. I have put the ATI gasket that I use on all brands of SFI bellhousens. ATI 2000044G. They're like less than $5. Jags of Summit or right from ATI. Wherever you want to get it if you choose to run this. This is not cut for O-rings like some of the bellhousens are that I don't like. It had nothing on it when it showed up. There was no sealer on the bolts. It had the pump washers. I think you can see them, you know, the traditional pump washers, but I still maintain that several of the pump bolt holes go straight into the case. Now there's nothing on the threads, and I'll leave it that way. But the sealing washer can't seal around the bolt. So I did not get flange bolts. I think they would clear here, but I'm gonna do what I don't like to do, but in a certain order. Gonna put a little clear silicone on each one. I'm gonna set the pump washer in here first. I'm gonna put one drop of medium strength Loctite on the threads, and carefully, that's what I hate about sealer. Drop it down through, trying not to make a mess. So why doesn't that fit through there? It's tight already. So step one, let's just keep rolling live. This is the pump drive. This looks like a torque converter. There's a bearing in here that's already packed with grease. It just rides on the input shaft, or the input shaft rides on the bearing. And this register here is where this bearing's gonna maintain some rigidity as well. So let's just put a little, starting right off with a little bit of lube. It's what we do every video. Now, I had somebody comment, which is awesome, and they had read that petroleum jelly isn't good for assembly on transmissions. Well, before, my response was, before there was commercially available assembly lube, this is what, you know, when I worked in transmission shops, that's what we used. And other than the assembly lube sellers that are going to try to talk you out of another product, I have never, and I've taken transmissions, like they had to take the pan down and stuff, you know, when you worked at the transmission shop, and there'd be a problem with a brand new unit. You never saw globs of this floating around. It instantly just disappears. It's petroleum, it's oil. So I'm going to continue to use it. It's cheap, it's easy, it's smooth. Evidence that the assembly lube isn't the greatest is when I took this apart, it had assembly lube that had turned brown and it was hot as a rock everywhere. So we're going to start with this. Right down over. And eventually we'll find the pump gears, or did we already? Was I that lucky? Sorry about that. Where are you? Right there. There we go. So that's down. And I believe in the next order, I can set this over. Like I said, my gasket's already on here. It fits perfect in this little register here. So I believe we can drop this down next. That sits right there. Now, the bearing should fit in here. Excuse me if I'm, you know, blocking you. Starts to go. May have to give it a little persuasion, and my favorite hammers are outside on a different project, so hang on. I'll use this little piece of junk. I don't know where I got it. I don't know if I can just tap on it. Sounds pretty solid to me. And I was only hitting on the outside here. You still spin, that's a good sign. So in theory, the bearing retainer should fit next. I'm gonna have faith in the gasket. The drain hole goes to the bottom. Okay, that feels pretty good. I have four, at this point I'm confident she's going together. I got four new flange bolts. The bolts that were in it are kind of mismatched. This is blue, medium strength. I'm just gonna put a drop. We don't need a lot. Just a drop. Comes out kind of fast sometimes though. That's a little more than a drop. I actually find myself wiping it back off because I don't want to over-goop it. Stand. So, like that. 1. 2, and yes, I had to make some longer lineup studs, and they're really not even quite long enough because I'm going to have a little problem grabbing them and getting them back out of there. 3. So far, so good. We're doing all right. So let's just snug those. Again, I'm not super confident. I'm fairly confident, but this is the thin wall Craftsman socket that I need to get the pump bolts in. So we'll just snug them down for now. So far we're doing okay. Now the pump drive itself, this appears to be made out of brass. It's not worn too bad. These, a little wear there, not bad, but this rides on a 3-finger clutch. You have to have a Borg&Beck style clutch. A long style might work, but the fingers on those, it has 3 fingers, but they're smaller. I believe this is made to use in a Borg&Beck 3-finger clutch where the 3 fingers are fairly wide. And this is just gonna bump into them when the pressure plate starts to turn. It's gonna bump into this and spin the pump, spin this piece here. So if I was standing at the front bumper, looking toward the rear of the car, the engine turns this way, so logically we need to bump up this way. This way would not make any sense. So it has 3 fingers on the inside, 3 fingers here. Gonna go like that. Now I have a snap ring. And a pair of snap ring pliers. Should have my safety glasses on, but all snap rings have a round side and a flat side. In this case, I'm putting the flat side toward the brass. Put that on there. Always try not to overextend the snap ring. In this case, I'm not in the groove yet. There we go. Make sure she spins. Yep. That works. Okay. I guess all we have left is to fight with the bolts, the pump bolts. This is going easier than I expected. So, once again, pump bolt washers have a round side and a flat side. I'm putting round side down. I'm going to put them right in the hole. Try not to drop any because I need to buy a batch more of these. These things are more expensive than they should be. You get a package with every kit, and thankfully the 6-bolt pump transmissions, every time you build a 6-pump transmission, you get 2 extra pump washer bolts. At one time I bought 1,000 of these, but they're all gone. I'm going to avoid my studs at the moment. Okay, 2 left. Now, back to the medium strength. Each pump bolt's only going to get a drop. I said that last time. Let's see if we got better control. I might be out of the picture. Apologize if I am. Good for you if I am, actually. You don't have to stare at my head. And, okay, that's done. Brand new tube of sealer. That's my stomach growling. Permatex clear. We can get rid of that. Get rid of some of this mess. Did you know that in the end of the cap, they give you a little piercing tool? You go like that, and now you're good to go. Usually I squish the tube down if it's been used, but so I'm gonna go and make sure my washer's on the right direction. Again, all washers have a flat side and a round side. I'm putting the flat side toward the gasket. I'm just gonna put a little bit. All I'm trying to do is seal up the bolt head. So that's all it's gonna take. Now if I can do this without getting sealer all over myself, we'll be really doing something. That one was the one that went in hard. Let's continue. Is this too boring? I could probably jump ahead. Why don't I do that? Nobody really wants to watch me put silicone on all the bolts. Hang on, we're gaining. Now I gotta take my studs out. I took one out already. Decided to turn it back on in case you missed me. You can barely grab the stud, so Mr. Vice Grip will help me. They weren't that much longer than the ones I always use, but they'll come in handy. I should have, where'd the other one go? I should have cut. I had one longer set of 5/16 bolts. I should have cut the head off those. All right, so 2 more washers. Round side down, if you were paying attention. I got round side of the gasket down toward the aluminum, and the flat side's facing the flat side of the washer. If that makes any sense. It does in my head. Does it matter? Probably not. This method's working pretty good because it kind of holds the washer in place. And cleanup wouldn't be too terrible because you know I hate RTV anywhere near an automatic transmission, but in this case, there was no provision for not having this thing leak. And I really don't want it to leak. Also kind of, over time, so much silicone grows around the threads here that you won't get it back together. Eventually you lose the whole tube because air leaks in. But this is kind of holding the washer. Now let's see if my careful alignment of the pump body and to the case gonna pay dividends. This one's tight, but she whacked. That's started. That's started. Not bad. Just get them all started. Going good. That one fell in by itself. Did you see that? So they're all started. Now we'll just go down snug. Sorry if I'm mumbling. Don't adjust your set. A lot of people do complain about the volume when they do it. It varies. My iPhone just did another update. It's tight on the case. And it's changed all the settings, which is a pain. But the complaints about the volume have gone away. I watch on all my Apple devices. I don't have any trouble. In fact, I got to turn it down compared to other videos. I seem like I'm too loud. Right now I'm a long distance. And I don't like videos where the person's wearing a mic because it feels like you're halfway down their throat, if that makes any sense. You hear all the huffing and puffing and wheezing. And okay, you can see how tight that pocket is. This is after I cleaned the crap out of it. Sorry about the use of bad word there, you know. So, I've warned in the past, and I'm going to absolutely preach it again. This is kind of a difficult situation with the sockets tight, but yes, there's a published torque spec for pump bolts. Well, this old case is as old as I am, and it, like me, my threads are getting bad too, so they're not bad. I'm just not going to put a 3-foot torque wrench on it and try to achieve any. I can feel the threads, if that makes any sense. I know it's not technically correct, but I'm relying on a tiny bit of Loctite, which was never part of the program, to hold it tight when I get it to the point where I'm going to call it tight. So literally, and never have I had one loosen up. And I do the same thing for the pan bolts. They're even worse because the pan's been off the transmission, hopefully more than the pump. But just go in a crisscross pattern of sorts. And I could pull the threads with this if I wanted to. If I go crazy, those threads are bye-bye. Now a nice brand new reed case, you feel the need to torque it, go ahead. But in reality, I'm the human torque wrench. I'm pulling the same. You can feel everything get tight. And you're stressing her a little more than that. Oh, got a visitor. Be right back. All right, everything's tight. My visitor's gone. I didn't get too wet in the rain. Now I just take a screwdriver and a rag. Make sure there's minimal trace of sealer. I am a little afraid this video, the volume's gonna be a problem. That's what I was talking about. But everything tightened up nicely. You can feel, because you got the pump gasket to compress, plus the ATI gasket to compress, all the while being vigilant that you're not just pulling threads because you got a lot of extra stuff here, longer bolts. Caution, I guess, is the word of the day. So that all looks pretty good. Still spins nicely. I believe this Pilot is smaller than a Chevrolet, so I got to figure that out. I had determined this is a 23 spline input shaft. That's Mopar, I believe. Small Mopar. Big Mopar's 18 spline. All we got left now, and hopefully finish this up in one more video. I have to refurbish the tail housing, and we need to install the valve body, filter, etc. The pan, I have an old, or brand new, but old style B&M deep pan. Seems fitting. If this is indeed a B&M, I don't know whose conversion this is. Fairbanks, Winters, B&M. Fairbanks and Winters may be the same. So, and modify a bell housing. Also need to do that. So, I have a few. I'm going to pick that's my stomach growling again. Pick the one that I don't mind, I guess, modifying. It's illegal in the rules of the sanctioning body to modify an SFI approved part. The bell housing I'm going to use is way out of cert, and in this case, it fits perfectly. So, it's good to know that you can't or shouldn't do that, modify the parts without sending them back to have them recertified. In my orange drag car with a Lenco 5-speed, it was a Lakewood housing. I welded some motor mounts on it that fit the chassis, and it needed to go back for a new SFI tag anyway, along with the clutch and the flywheels, and yeah, that was an expensive trip via UPS or however I sent it. So that's it for today. One more video I think's gonna do it. No more than 2, if that includes the bell housing and other details. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.